the opening 6 minutes at the beginning of the second half, and Newcastle are on their way to 3 points, and Huddersfield, as if you didn't know it already, are on their way to the Championship.
Chance inside the box, real chance for 2-0. What a save! Just glanced up as Solanke danced into the Wolves penalty area. Hives into the box, gets past Conor Cody, kills it, hits the crossbar. What an effort that was by Jordan Ibe.
Longstaff goes for the curler. Always hit the bar. But the local lad nearly found that first goal for Newcastle United.
Jimenez up to the ball, rolls it past a falling Bonac into the middle of the net. It's Bournemouth 1, Wolves 1 here. Patricio, and he's put it wide, he hits the base of the post. It remains one apiece, he went the same corner without the same accuracy.
So there is your Saturday action in a nutshell. And Burnley inflicting defeat on Tottenham Hotspur in the early kick-off up at Turf Moor. And the lunchtime kick-off, 2 goals to 1. Let's catch up with the action with, let's catch up with the report on that game with Matt Davis-Adams.
A potentially fatal blow to Tottenham's hopes as they went down 2-1 at Turf Moor against a resurgent Burnley. Spurs fell behind just before the hour when Chris Wood headed in a corner that the visitors felt shouldn't have been given. They were quickly back on terms though, Harry Kane firing in the equaliser on his return from injury. Burnley once again showed tremendous character to get their lead back though. Sub Goodmanson's scuff shot turned in by Ashley Barnes, who scored for the 4th game running. So Burnley moved further away from trouble, but Spurs missed the chance to go within 2 points of the top 2.
Certainly plenty of talking points in that game up at Turf Moor. Plenty of talking points also down on the south coast. Bournemouth against Wolverhampton Wanderers, which was watched by Andrew Self.
It finished here at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 1, Wolves 1. Well, catch your breath. It was only 50 seconds old, the match, when Adam Smith was yellow carded by referee Simon Hooper. A fast and frenetic opening first 45 was punctuated by a penalty when João Moutinho hung out a leg and Bournemouth's Josh King duly accepted the invitation to go over. King dispatched the penalty low to Patricio's left and Bournemouth took that lead into the break. The second half was more of the same in terms of passion and frenzy, and in all fairness, penalties. Simon Hooper given the next one of 3 in the game to Wolves in the 83rd minute when Doherty was caught by Adam Smith's challenge. Raul Jimenez rolled the resultant spot kick in for his 4th Premier League goal in 4 Premier League matches. But moments later, Ryan Fraser of Bournemouth was upended, and the referee, Simon Hooper, looked long and hard before giving the resultant spot kick. It was a case of was it inside or outside? It looked outside, but it was given, and it was King versus Patricio Part 2. King went the same way, Patricio went the same way, but the ball glanced away off the foot of the post and to safety. It ebbed and flowed and there was plenty of passion, but after everything was done and dusted, it ended Bournemouth 1, Wolves 1.
So the points all shared out at the Vitality Stadium. Joining me for a quick chat ahead of the game between Leicester City and Crystal Palace up at the King Power is our very own Paul Mortimer. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon, my friend. How are you? Good?
Yeah, very well, thank you. We've just seen Newcastle edge past Huddersfield Town with consummate ease. I think this one will be a little bit closer. The game you're just about to watch, Leicester City taking on Crystal Palace. Palace suddenly needs something out of this game.
Yeah, I think it's a game that both need something from for different reasons. If you look at Leicester, there's a lot of unrest behind the scenes. You know, you've heard, I think, Peter Schmeichel and Kasper Schmeichel talking about things. There seems to be something going on with Vardy and Puel, and the fans aren't really happy with the way the team's playing. He needs something. He needs a shot in the arm to keep the fans on his side. Palace have just been sort of sleptwalked into trouble again. They're in it, and they need to. This I think, is a game that they need to win.
Wilf Zaha is back as well, which is a big plus for them, and their away form is better than their home form.
It is, for some odd reason. I mean, Selhurst Park is a difficult place to play at for opposition normally, but it's been, you know, the flip side has been the case. They've been better away from home, where people, I suppose they don't have to make the play, people have come onto them, and with the pace they've got in attack, counter-attack, that's where they've scored their goals. But today, I mean, I'm not quite sure what Leicester you're gonna get, because Puel, he isn't that really expansive in his play like Leicester were. They were a good counter-attacking side that passed forward and played forward early, but it's going to be very interesting to see what mindset he sets his team out in.
Quickly touching base on the early kick-off today, Burnley getting the better of Tottenham by 2-1. Is that Spurs over in terms of the title race?
Well, it's going to be dependent on the other two and how they go, to be truthfully honest, because, if everyone loses, we're back as per normal. It was always going to be a tough game. I didn't think they'd lose, but I thought they would find it a real challenge, and Burnley were back to their best again.
Excellent, thanks very much, Paul. Enjoy your game up at the King Power. For now, here at St James's Park, Newcastle United 2, Huddersfield Town 0 the result. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, makes a shot. What a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2. Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance, Vardy goal. Leicester City out of nowhere have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
The Premier League Preview Show with TalkSport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh it's a goal, it's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
TalkSport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Cardiff City legend Danny Gavidan joins us on the preview show. He's got some new teeth. The former Millwall captain Matt Lawrence with us on the preview show. Former Liverpool striker Neil Mellor is on the preview show this week.
Subscribe to the podcast today at TalkSport.com.
This is Premier League Live.
Premier League Live with TalkSport.
Cleverly on the volley into the top corner. What a strike!
The only way to listen to the world's most exciting league outside the UK and Ireland.
Surely it's going to be a goal and it's bundled in.
All the big goals and big moments from the world's biggest football league.
As rare as a dodo's egg, a Newcastle goal.
We've got every single goal, every single weekend of the season.
It will get through it first. Oh, finds the finish. Wonderful goal from Marcus Rashford.
Premier League Live with TalkSport.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Leicester City against Crystal Palace from the King Power Stadium. I'm your host Tom Rennie. Alongside me is the former Palace winger Paul Mortimer. This is Premier League Live. Roy Hodgson has seen this all before. In fact, he's seen this all before more than anyone else. The Crystal Palace manager is 71 years old and 198 days today, becoming the oldest manager in the history of the Premier League. The man himself says he doesn't expect any pats on the back for his longevity and would prefer them for guiding his current team to safety. He might have a word of comfort for Claude Puel. He's opposite number today. The Leicester boss has seemed like he's been on the verge of being fired since arrival at the King Power a couple of years ago. And their most recent consecutive losing run won't help. In total, they are 6 without a win in all competitions ahead of this one. Let's get to the team news, starting with Leicester City. Ben Chilwell and James Maddison were doubts for this one. Chilwell has not made it, but Maddison has. 2 changes from their last Premier League game. Chilwell out, Fuchs is in. Damari Gray also drops down to the bench. Jamie Vardy is up front. So Kasper Schmeichel is in goal. Back 4 left to right of Christian Fuchs, Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans and Ricardo Pereira. Wilfred Ndidi in the centre of midfield with James Maddison and Yuri Tielemans alongside him. We've got Harvey Barnes and Rashid Hazal supporting Jamie Vardy up front. The benches: Soyuncu, Morgan, Gray, Iheanacho, Ward, Okazaki and Mendy. For Crystal Palace, 3 changes from their last Premier League game. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has got a hamstring problem. Big loss for Crystal Palace. He is out. Also, Kelly and Benteke drop out the starting 11. Ward, Tompkins and the Batman, Michy Batshuayi, come in to replace them. So, in goal for them, Vicente Guiata. Across the back 4, left to right, Patrick Van Aanholt, Mamadou Sakho, James Tompkins and Ward at right back. Joel Ward today. The captain, Luka Milivojevic, in the centre midfield with MacArthur and Jeffrey Schlupp. Up front, Batshuayi through the centre with Andros Townsend and Wilfried Zaha supporting. On the bench, it's Dan, Maya, Kouyaté, Hennessy, Ayew, Benteke and Riedewald. Alongside me today is the housewives' favourite, the man who sold more calendars to the over 60s than Cliff Richard. Paul Mortimer is with me today. How are you, mate? You're right.
I'm fine.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. Well,
still one of the young ones, are you?
You're getting better, my friend. You're getting better.
Yeah.
Looking forward to today's game. It's 2 teams that look the way they've set up in 4-3-3. Look like they're going to, match each other up. Are they going to cancel each other out, or is one system going to be stronger because they've got better players than the other? We shall see. It looks like it's going to be a really good game, though.
Pre-kick-off, as I mentioned there in the introduction, Crystal Palace have dropped below Newcastle. They've dropped below Burnley. They are now 15th in the table, 27 points, 3 above Southampton, who are in the bottom 3 right now. Crystal Palace can't afford to let this game go, can they? They've got a mid-table side here with not much to play for. They've got to go for 3 points today.
I think it's a game they've got to win. They're in it. They're in trouble. There's no disputing that. Leicester have not been in good form. They've lost too many games recently. There's a little bit of turmoil there. Can Palace take advantage of that? Only time will tell, but it's a game. A point is no good to them. They've got to go and register 3.
Just 1 win in 2019 for Leicester City. That came on the 1st of January away at Everton. Since then, they've lost heavily against Wolverhampton Wanderers. They've lost to Newport County, lost to Spurs last time out. Sure, they've also had Liverpool and Man U in that run, so some tough games, but it's a long old time without victory, and I think it's fair to say the natives are a bit restless here.
Yeah, they are. It's not just the defeats and the outcomes, but the performances as well. I've seen a couple where their best player has been James Maddison, and he's taken him off, and you see disbelief in the stadium and amongst his own players. You can see them deflate because they're all thinking, what you doing? He's our best player. And he's done that time and time again. So some of the ire that he's getting from the crowd, in my opinion, appears to be self-inflicted.
What have you made of this story this week? Some out there may not have heard this, that he had to have a meeting with Kasper Schmeichel, the goalkeeper, who wanted to leave the club at the end of this season, unhappy with Claude Puel, so says the Leicester Mercury this week, perhaps instigated by his dad, Peter Schmeichel, according to the story that leaked out. Claude Puel didn't want to talk about it. He said it wasn't about his future, and he just had a discussion about different things, end quote.
Well, I would have kept that quiet, to be truthfully honest, because what you're saying is that there's issues. Peter Schmeichel can say what he wants, and you can leave him to say it, but there is a reason why he's saying it. He's feeling or sensing something from his son. There's absolutely no disputing that. Now, the reason why Puel has to dampen it down is because it appears the fans aren't happy, and what they're seeing is that one of the players is with them, if that makes sense, and that makes things difficult, especially it's one of their experienced players who I think at the moment is captain. So if your leader is casting doubt over the manager's ability to do his job. That's not a good sign. It's not healthy.
Some doubts may be around Claude Puel, but no doubt about the quality of Roy Hodgson, celebrating his longevity, really. 71 and 198 days today. He overtakes a record set by Sir Bobby Robson as the oldest manager to take charge of a Premier League game. He's tried to play it down, but it can't be played down. It's an incredible achievement, a 50-year career in management.
It's absolutely incredible, and it's a generational thing, because if he'd started now, there's absolutely no way he'd have lasted that long with the way managers change jobs so frequently. And it's not all been in this country. I mean, he's a nomadic experience. He's gone all over the place, knows half a dozen different languages, and has been successful in other countries. Not many English managers have gone abroad and been as successful as he's been.
Will he be a success at Crystal Palace moving forward? How long can he go? How far can he take them?
Well, he can't be long term. There's no disputing that. And I think at some point they're going to need a change, because I think he came out to start the season, we're going to struggle straight away, and you don't want to hear that. He's a realist. You don't want to hear that. I think at some point in the next year, 18 months, there will have to be a change.
Should Palace be doing better? I was reading earlier this week the 17th highest wage bill in world football.
Well, that just gives you an idea of how they pay their players. The money does not equate to any performance standard at all.
Should it though? Doesn't it?
Of course it should. Of course it should. So are you saying that those players, those highly valued players, are overrated? That might be what you're saying. They are punching below their weight, some of them. Again, it comes down, one of the biggest things in football now is recruitment. But not just recruiting of players. Who recruits the people that do the recruiting, if that makes sense?
Who watches the watchmen?
Who watches them? Because, if Palace, like you say, 17th biggest budget in Europe, they should be doing better than they are in the Premier League, without a doubt.
Let's hear from Roy Hodgson, manager of Crystal Palace, and the Foxes' boss, Claude Puel.
He is a good player with a lot of potential, and they can make the difference. And I think he managed his team. For example, last time he has had very good results with a quality, with good performance on the pitch.
I think teams probably even above us in the table with 3 or 4 more points. They know, because they know the difficulty of this league and how hard every point is to gain. I bet you can interview managers, sitting 3 or 4 points better off than we are, and ask them a question, is relegation so, which enters your head from time to time? I'm sure it will do, because you know that any moment in time you can go on a run of 3 or 4 games where you don't get any points, and in that time other teams will overtake you.
I think this team played a better football than last season, and they have encouraging result in the last games, and of course it will be another tough game for us, but I say I'm confident with my play, with their hard work, and what I can see in training sessions this week.
I like Jamie Vardy, and I think he's a very good player, but I think I'll stay out of any selection issues, and that's purely a matter for Claude and his coaching staff. But if Jamie plays, we know what he can do, we know the danger he presents, and certainly I hope that our defensive setup will be aware of it.
Yeah, certainly Palace's defence going to be tested today by the likes of Jamie Vardy. Looking forward to seeing Harvey Barnes up front today as well. Some real quality in both of these lineups. A real tough game to predict. It's a game that's gone the way of the Eagles in recent times. Crystal Palace have won each of the past 3 meetings by an aggregate score of 9-0. They've only won more top flight games in a row against Wimbledon, Southampton and Stoke, so this is a happy hunting ground for the Eagles, and they'll need it to be, as they are being clawed into a battle at the bottom of the Premier League following results earlier today. Kickoff is coming up next between Leicester and Crystal Palace. You are listening to Premier League Live.
Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it, oh, it's a goal! It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway, is the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends the shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool stamp their authority at Anfield. Yet more. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 0. Title challenge on. Are they now the favourites?
Kick-by-kick commentary, expert opinion, international coverage of the world's most exciting football league.
Aubameyang through to Torreira inside the area. Torreira scores! And surely now, North London is red again. Arsenal 4, Tottenham 2.
Here's Maddison for Leicester. Vardy chance! Vardy goal! Leicester City, out of nowhere, have got the lead. Jamie Vardy, who's been virtually anonymous this afternoon, isn't anymore. Wonderful finish by Vardy, and it's Chelsea 0, Leicester City 1.
Premier League Live, brought to you by TalkSport Live.
Go to TalkSport.com and sign up now to play the free TalkSport Predictor game. Predict the results of the English Premier League games this season for the chance to win top-flight weekly prizes. From the Gunners getting away goals at Anfield to epic finishes at the Etihad. Click TalkSport.com/predictor and register now for the chance to go top of the table in the ultimate football fan tournament. The TalkSport English Premier League Predictor game. Available online and for free at TalkSport.com/predictor.
This is Premier League Live.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Leicester City against Crystal Palace from the King Power Stadium. I'm your host Tom Rennie. Alongside me is the former Palace winger Paul Mortimer. This is Premier League Live. What a big game we have got for you, no doubt about that, in the Premier League. But for the moment, the struggles to stay in the Premier League and the future of Claude Puel will take a backseat for the very latest tribute to the legendary Leicester City goalkeeper Gordon Banks, who sadly passed away in recent days. The players are wearing black armbands following the death of Gordon Banks, who played for Leicester in 2 FA Cup finals, won the 1964 League Cup, and of course triumphed with England in 1966. One of the all-time greats, and his personal friend and successor with England and Leicester, Peter Shilton, is in attendance at the King Power today. We're going to cross over to the stadium announcer very shortly for that time of remembrance. It's something we have seen at grounds up and down the country and around the world as well. One of the greatest goalkeepers this country has ever produced. I think it's fair to say the greatest goalkeeper we have ever produced. Let's cross over now to the stadium announcer.
Last week at the age of 81, Gordon played 356 times for your football club between 1959 and 1966. And was on to lift the World Cup with England in 1966. Still, the only Asian player to do so. He played for the club in 4 major finals before moving to Stoke City and is widely recognised as one of the greatest goalkeepers ever to have played the game. He was a total of 17 years in camp and was made Team of the Year in the American Superstar with an 80 we'd like to offer our deepest condolences to Gordon's family and friends at this tough time, and invite you all to join in a minute of applause as we remember a great man, Gordon King.
Another of the game's true greats lost from us, however, fondly remembered Gordon Banks, who was the Leicester City goalkeeper when he won the World Cup in 1966, was here until 1967, over 350 appearances for the club. Gordon Banks, Paul, quite rightly and brilliantly remembered him.
Yes, and this is something I think football in this country does really well when we're celebrating our gone but not forgotten stars. And all I remember is that save. Best bit of football, fantastic save. Don't know how that went. That didn't go in, but that's his legacy for me.
The man who stopped Pelé in 1970 and won the World Cup in 66. Back to 2019 and tonight's action. The Foxes on the verge of a club record, something they're used to setting in these parts. However, this one is one they will not want. A loss today would be their fourth home defeat in a row, their worst run in 19 years. Just one win from 5 in the league once again turns the spotlight on manager Claude Puel, already in the midst of an alleged row with Jamie Vardy. This week, goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel has asked for a meeting on his future. The relative serenity of mid-table has not satiated fans who have recently tasted the high life. For Palace, they slipped below Burnley and Newcastle in the table today following victories for the Clarets and the Magpies. They are not safe as yet, but surely with the veteran Roy Hodgson in charge, the Eagles surely have the nous to stay in the Premier League for the 19-20 campaign. They often create chances, but it's taking those chances that is so often the Achilles heel of Crystal Palace. Team news then. Kasper Schmeichel is in goal and captains the side for Leicester. Back four left to right is Christian Fuchs, Harry Maguire, Johnny Evans and Ricardo Pereira. Wilfred Ndidi in the centre midfield with James Maddison and Yuri Tielemans alongside him. Jamie Vardy back and through the centre with Harvey Barnes and Rashid Hazal supporting him. On the bench, Soyuncu, Morgan, Gray, Iheanacho, Ward, Okazaki and Mendy. For Palace in goal, Vicente Guiata. Back four left to right of Patrick Van Aanholt, Mamadou Sakho, Tompkins and Joel Ward. In for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. In midfield, Milivojevic the captain with James MacArthur and Jeffrey Schlupp. Michy Batshuayi in for Christian Benteke with Andros Townsend and Wilfried Zaha supporting. On the bench it's Dan, Maya, Kouyaté, Hennessy, Ayew, Benteke and Riedewald. Leicester in their home strip, all royal blue shirts, shorts and socks with white trim, numbering and their names. Crystal Palace in their white away strip today, shirts, shorts and socks with red numbering and trim and a Peruvian sash across the front.
Peruvian, it is very much Peru. And the way they've set up is Ndidi and Tielemans sitting in the middle of midfield and Maddison, who's playing in there in an advanced role between the midfield and possibly Jamie Vardy, so he's going to sort of play in that hole. I suppose it's the number 10 position, him being number 10, fantastic. But I think that what they're going to try and do is get the ball into him as much as possible and hopefully get on the half turn and create for people going forward.
He's got a free kick here midway inside Crystal Palace territory. Leicester kick towards our right in this first half. It's a training ground move which leads to a shot from distance. It's bobbled a long way through and all the way through to the goalkeeper Guiata.
Oh, that was a terrible training ground. Oh, they're in.
At the other end, they've gone long. Crystal Palace up towards Batshuayi. It's just come off his heel and they're able to smuggle that ball away.
Yeah, that free kick was one of the ones I think they should have left on the training ground, to be truthfully honest. It was, it's one of them you don't need to touch it. That's one of them so far away you need to really just smash it, and it didn't.
It was Tillmans who had the shot in the end. My first good look at Yuri Tillmans, but a very talented Belgian player.
Yeah, he looks half decent. He's decent on the ball. Good touch, good passing. It looks like he can snap into a tackle as well, which is probably what Leicester need at the moment.
She did not look too bad in that particular position this season. Mendy and Ndidi had formed a solid partnership, but didn't have any real ability to bring that ball forward, which Tillmans certainly will bring.
Yeah, I think he'll be a little bit more offensive. He'll sit in with Ndidi initially, but he will drift and he will go forward and he will look for the ball.
Christian Fuchs looking for the ball right now, and he finds Yuri Tillmans on the edge of the penalty area. Can't find a pass in field. Maddison takes over, shot from distance blocked. It comes out to Johnny Evans, looking cross field, but short for Fuchs. Nearly won by Joel Ward, but well, in fact it is won by Joel Ward, but it hasn't been given as a throw in Leicester's way, much to the annoyance of Fuchs, who got forward.
It's a good solid start from Leicester. They've played a lot in Palace's half, but Palace knew this. They'll probably just sit in and feel their way into the game, because I think they've got threats going forward in Townsend and definitely Zaha.
Towards Batshuayi from the throw, one back by Leicester, but it's broken in midfield to Jeffrey Schlupp, who scored the opener at Doncaster last weekend. A superb solo goal, of course, a former Leicester City player and Premier League champion during his time here.
Exactly right, so he'll know. I mean, these are always difficult games when you come back and play, because your team, they're still your teammates and they know you well, and they know that the buttons to push to make the game difficult for you.
Here he is now, Jeffrey Schlupp in the centre circle. Out left to Patrick Van Aanholt, a great attacking fullback down this left-hand side for Crystal Palace. It's back now once again to that man, Jeffrey Schlupp, seeing plenty of the ball in the opening exchanges here. It's out right now, down the line to MacArthur, who's certainly much more of an attacking player than you give him credit for. Loses the ball that time, and it's broken to Ward on the right-hand side, cross towards the back post, away by Ricardo Pereira, only as far as Schlupp, who goes left to Patrick Van Aanholt, into Batshuayi on the edge. Van Aanholt again runs into the frame of Harry Maguire. Poor pass back by Rashid Ghazal. Plays his team into trouble, breaks to Zaha, challenged by MacArthur. Van Aanholt surely offside.
It's got to be offside.
Well, he's allowing the ball to bounce, and eventually the offside flag will go up when he shows some interest in the ball.
Well, it's a strange thing there. He's put his hands up, okay, I know I'm offside, and then goes to shield the ball, which puts him back in place. The weirdest thing I've ever seen, but both teams look like they want to go and attack. They want to have a go at each other, but they sense, I suppose, Palace look at Leicester's defence and realise they haven't got any genuine pace there. And with Vardy up front for Leicester, they know they can play in behind Palace.
Another man who played briefly for Leicester City, Patrick Van Aanholt, was here in 2011 as the Foxes finished 10th in the Championship under Sven-Göran Eriksson. Wow. How much this club has changed in the last decade.
Well, you can say that about a lot of clubs.
Well, they've all had Sven-Göran Eriksson.
No. Two players clash heads just there. Yeah, I suppose you could say that,
Yeah, Sakho and Schlupp both jumping for the same ball. Mamadou Sakho looks like he is alright. Schlupp still feeling the after effects.
Well, it's one of them. He's definitely called for his Sakho, so he's saying, listen, if you don't get out of the way, I'm heading the back of your head. Centre halves head everything. Never get in their way. He won't do that again, I'll tell you that much. Look.
Good news for Palace that James Tompkins and Mamadou Sakho have been reunited at the heart of defence today. Tompkins missed last week. Sakho's missed a few games as well this season, but I think they're such a solid partnership.
They're a good pairing. They know each other well, know each other's strengths and weaknesses, work with the fullbacks well. I think Wan-Bissaka is a huge loss because of just how well he attacks and the confidence he has in himself attacking. You're not going to get that from Joel Ward. He'll try, but he just doesn't have the thrust of Wan-Bissaka.
It's the second Premier League game this season that Aaron Wan-Bissaka hasn't played. Ball is in the centre circle with Maguire for Leicester. He's chipped it out left. Finds Fuchs. In towards Barnes. Chance to turn and run at Ward. Challenged by Ward and Milivojevic. MacArthur with another challenge here for Crystal Palace, and it's gone upfield to be picked up by Maguire. Behind him is Johnny Evans. Just inside their own half here. Leicester City, winless in their last 5 Premier League games. home crowd who've never really been in full support of Claude Puel. It'll be an interesting few months at Leicester City as they come forward here down the left-hand side. Long ball picked up by Barnes. Good ball in. Jamie Vardy. Good header. Just over the top. From the hitman, Jamie Vardy. Lovely play by Harvey Barnes.
I like Harvey Barnes. I don't know how they've done that gem out, but he reads the knockdown really well. Turns, drives down the line, cuts inside, and Vardy knows he's coming. And that's the thing. Now he's got a player around him who he knows. A little bit like Drinkwater and Mahrez used to be. They're going to serve him really early. So he sets back, makes a run across the centre half, and really on another day that could have gone in.
Yeah, really impressed that West Bromwich Albion on loan for the first half of this season. Harvey Barnes been at the club since the age of 9, Leicester City. Scored plenty of goals down in the Championship. Has looked threatening. Good to see a player recall and get in the game, and here he is now again, picked it up on the halfway line, turn of pace, running at Ward, wants a pass, looks to slip it to Jamie Vardy. Vardy has got it, but he's been forced out left. It's back to Maddison, on the edge, Maddison, deflected, it's gone just wide from Maddison's effort. MacArthur with the block.
And you know what, that's the Leicester we never love. Barnes gets it, drives, great ball, he slides in, penalty, could have happened there. Ball comes back and Palace block him really well, I've got to say. I don't know if that hits Sacco's head or his arm, I'm not quite sure. It's his head. It's a great block, I've got to say.
Yeah, MacArthur, Milivojevic and Sacco all desperately trying to get in front of that shot. It was Sacco who got the final clearance on it for a corner on this right hand side. Maddison's ball in, it's away at the back post. Forward again though by Thielmann, can't get it to Johnny Evans. It's picked up by MacArthur, who gives it an old-fashioned up and under, up towards Batshuayi, won by Fuchs, and then Milivojevic brings it down, but his header has been intercepted by Maddison, who looks to play in Barnes around the back of Ward, ever so slightly overhit by James Maddison, another who impressed in the Championship before Leicester bought him. And you know, it's a good path, isn't it, for some players if they impress in the second tier. It's good to see Championship players getting a chance in the Premier League, and it's not always going to
just
France and Germany and wherever
It's just
else.
about opportunity, Tom, that's all. Give these boys the opportunity. Harvey Barnes and James Maddison have shown you that, you know, we're good enough. You've got young Wilson at Derby doing the same thing. I think he's from Liverpool, doing the same thing, and you're going to see these young lads turning up in Premier League sides. What I like about Leicester at the moment is they're looking in behind, in between the centre halves of Palace, in behind, making the centre halves run back towards the goal. Good play.
A very good start to this game. 10 minutes gone. Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 0 on Premier League Live. Of course, a reminder today, the big story, Tottenham Hotspur surely now out of the title race, having been beaten at Burnley earlier on. Newcastle victorious in their game against Huddersfield, a draw between Bournemouth and Wolves. Here come Leicester on the edge of the area, curler towards goal from the left-hand side by Yuri Thielmann, who's having plenty to say in these opening exchanges here at the King Power Stadium, but that is straight into the arms of Guiata in goal.
Well, one team's settled down already, the other isn't quite sure at the moment. Palace haven't had enough of the ball to really settle down. Leicester have done really well. They've got it, look forward, and then go and play in Palace's halves. Good play.
Ball picked up by Harvey Barnes on the halfway line for Leicester, back inside his own half. It's picked up by Maguire. Ball forward by Ward, looking for Batshuayi. It was round the back of Maguire for a second, but it's picked up by Johnny Evans and just throttled out play by the former Manchester United man.
Should have gone back to the keeper there, but strange bit of play for Maguire. Tried to anticipate where the ball was going to go. It didn't go there, so he was very much out of position. Good covering from his partner, Johnny Evans.
On the right hand side to Palace, level with the edge of the penalty area in toward Batshuayi, looks to turn Maguire, can't get away from Maguire, and it's hit the England defender last, and will be a corner to Crystal Palace on the attacking right hand side. Good work by Michy Batshuayi, in for Christian Benteke from the start here.
He gives you more movement and stuff like that, where he's held the ball up well, knows he's got two defenders on him. I don't think Benteke would have held that. He's just not that type of player whose play outside the box is good enough. I think he's just got a little bit more quality, Batshuayi, than Benteke.
They might have a chance back at Chelsea if their transfer ban comes into effect. On loan at Crystal Palace, and in the box here as It's taken on the right-hand side, whipped in towards him. Johnny Evans there once again for the Foxes to get the ball out of play, but it will be another corner to Crystal Palace out on the attacking right once again. Ball recovered by Michy Batshuayi behind the goal, and he'll go back to the edge of the 6-yard box. MacArthur is right in front of the alleged want-away Kasper Schmeichel. Ball whipped in towards the near post and Schlupp, but it's away by Fuchs. Oh, it's over the head of Ward, and it will fall to Barnes, and Tielemans ahead of him. Down the left channel to him now. He nearly found a return ball to Barnes, but it's intercepted. And then the referee says that's a foul by Wilfried Zaha, running back inside his own half, bringing down the Belgian midfielder. Much to Zaha's frustration.
And you can see what they're looking to do every time, Leicester. It's a great break, poor defensive error from Joel Ward, and it's a poor tackle from Zaha, actually. Breaks him down his shin. Definite attacker's tackle, but he had to do something to stop that break. Tielemans looks about 12, doesn't he? He's got a very young looking face, isn't he?
It's a curse for many of us, Paul.
Is it?
Looking this youthful, you know.
Okay.
Anyway, don't say useful, that's definitely not something I am.
Well, I'm not even going to comment.
And that free kick wasn't useful either.
It was terrible.
Cleared straight out.
I don't know, sometimes I think, Tom, watching as many games as we do players practice set pieces? Because a lot of them are terrible. They're just poor quality, aren't they?
Yeah. I wonder how much time they are spending practicing these things, and how much they're working on their fitness work and in the gym and all that sort of stuff.
Not enough.
Take some free kicks.
Yeah, not enough, because they've never missed the first man. If you look at this tackle again, it's not a great tackle from Zaha.
Tielemans, yeah, it's
right
not good.
It's very high, and he's got away with it actually, because that's a booking.
Long throw here coming in from Leicester on the left-hand side. One of the trademarks of the title-winning season, the long run and delivery of Fuchs. It's towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Milivojevic heads across the area, hacked away by Van Arnholt. Picked up by Ndidi with his back to goal. He's done well there, Wilfred Ndidi. One of the players in the top 10 for most yards covered this season. It's only Kante and Jorginho and a couple of others that have run more than Ndidi.
Well, it's not just about yards covered, it's what you've done with those yards, to be truthfully honest. We could all run and cover the yardage. It's about how effective you are and how effective it is in the game. That's all that matters. I go back to the days where, you used to have the centre forward or whoever who was maybe overweight, but had such an effect on the game. He'd come 25th in terms of yardage covered, but he'd score you 25 goals a season. So, it depends on what you're looking for, doesn't it?
You're like a John Parkin style striker. That's
there
what you're
you go.
after.
Yeah.
Johnny Hartson.
Yeah.
Those types.
John Hartson was a very good player. You're not going to get yardage out of him, but you get quality, and that's what matters.
You can get a fringe out of him by the end. But that's a whole other thing, John. We're just joking here. Ball down the line.
For you to say that.
Well, he's a good-looking man, John. Good haircut. Always liked him. Ball down the right-hand side here for Crystal Palace towards Batshuayi, but he's pushed Johnny Evans. Will be a free kick to Leicester. 17 minutes on the clock here. It's Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 0 on Premier League Live. Cal Ali's been in touch. Loves Paul Mortimer being referred to as the housewife's favourite. Well, it's a good little nickname, I think. I like that one. Keep your tweets coming into our TalkSport Live as Leicester look to attack down the left-hand side. Not really troubled Vicente Guaita so far in the Crystal Palace goal. One deflected shot aside, best they've really come up with. Ball down the right-hand side to Andros Townsend for Palace, trying to bundle his way forward. Can't get past Madison or Christian Fuchs. Wants a free kick, not forthcoming, but big moment on Andros Townsend, having a fantastic season.
Yeah, he's having a good season. It's not a foul, because if you look, both of them have got the ball. I don't really see a foul there. He's done really well, Townsend, actually.
They've immediately won the ball back, Leicester. Driving down the left-hand side is Harvey Barnes, head down. Dispossessed, though, by some good defending and tracking there by MacArthur, and it's already out left to Patrick Van Arnholt. He'll find Zaha. Back to Van Arnholt again. Cross towards Batshuayi. Chests it back now towards Townsend. Back defending is Madison. For a second there, Johnny Evans not quite alert to the danger. Batshuayi nearly nicked it off him. Finds a pass to Madison, then to Schmeichel, left to Fuchs, and Leicester will bring it away. Into Yuri Tielemans. Finds the ball right to Rashid Hazard. Out on the right-hand side now. First time he's had a chance to run.
It's a poor pass.
Trying to find Ricardo Pereira, sold him short.
And that's where we are at the moment. It's a bit bitty because we get to the final pass and it's just not good enough. And that's where the ball's changing hands far too often.
Rashid Hazal being billed as the next Riyad Mahrez, Algerian winger on the right wing, but haven't quite seen that kind of quality. Harvey Barnes with a shot here from distance. That's better from Leicester City, but well held this time by the goalkeeper for Palace, Vicente Guaita. Got down to his left-hand side and never spilled it.
Can't help but like him. On the half turn, good, takes it with his back foot. First touch sets up a chance to shoot, and he's looking to either cross or shoot, but he's looking to pass forward and run forward, which is just so positive.
High ball from the Crystal Palace goalkeeper. One back by Leicester, but it's gone straight through to Mamadou Sakho, who controls and just tells his teammates to calm down a little bit. Leicester have just been getting on top. The crowd have just been getting behind the home team.
Been better on the ball, Leicester. Palace haven't been good enough on the ball. As you see, another misplaced pass nearly puts Sakho in trouble.
Yeah, Van Aanholt trying to find Sakho 10 yards to his right, played it way ahead of him. Tompkins recovered it before Vardy could nick it. They have nicked it now through Tielemans. Touches the ball back towards the halfway line, and Maddison. Fuchs ahead of him, back to Maddison again, trying to pull the strings. The number 10 for Leicester into Hazal, who's passed back to Ndidi, was short, but Wilfred Ndidi recovered it. It's lovely play to get away from 4 tackles as he dribbles out left. Finds Fuchs, back to Ndidi. Approaching 20 minutes gone here, 0-0. Ball chipped out right to Ricardo. Into Tielemans, ball forward towards Hazal, is cleared away. And a play for a throw on the halfway line, which Johnny Evans wants to take quickly, but no option for Evans, so he leaves it in the end for Ricardo. We'll find it throwing back to Johnny Evans. Infield now to Maguire, Dini ahead of him, back to Maguire again. Only Batshuayi pressing for Palace. Here's Tielemans. Crossfield ball is lovely to Fuchs. First time into Barnes. Lovely first touch control to take it away from Tompkins into the corner flag area. Tries a back heel to Fuchs. Challenged by Tompkins. Into the Leicester man last, and it will be a goal kick, and that's good defending there by James Tompkins.
Well, it's enterprising play from Fuchs and Barnes. They're doing really well, but that old head of James Tompkins reads the situation well and nullifies it. But you can see they're playing on the right hand side, isolating Fuchs on the left hand side. Barnes is sitting on Joel Ward, and there's almost a 2v1 going on, and they're forcing Tompkins from centre half centrally over to the left a little bit more and overloading the area. So I think they have to look out for that, Crystal Palace, because I think they're leaving huge gaps between Tompkins and Sakho for Vardy to exploit.
Bit of an old campaigner now, James Tompkins, soon to be turning 30, nearly 250 games for West Ham, 80 odd now for Crystal Palace. Solid defender.
Should have been better
Premier League
for me.
pedigree.
Should have been better for me. Should have been around the England thing. I think he should have been. I think he had all the attributes, decent enough on the ball, quick enough, good enough defender, but it just never happened. Sometimes it doesn't happen for some.
Not too late as yet.
No, but you're going to have to do quite a lot to get past what we've got in there at the moment.
Here's what we have at the moment. Harry Maguire on the ball, but we are going to have a bit of a break in play here because Batshuayi is adjudged to have fouled Ndidi after his release. Just seeing a replay, they just seem to have clattered into each other somewhat accidentally, but the referee's given the free kick. Anthony Taylor. Here's Maddison now trying to thread the needle through to Tielemans. It's away by Schlupp up towards Batshuayi, struggling at the moment. Batshuayi to make it stick up there, and it's Ricardo coming forward into Maddison. First time back to Tielemans, leaves it for Ndidi, who gives an almighty thump, but it's way over the crossbar and some way wide to boot.
Well, there's an opportunity to pass it wide to Barnes, who was ready, but it's set up lovely. He's coming onto it. He can see everything in front of him. He's thinking, if I half volley this and it's on target, I've got a chance. But the first bit, if I could half volley it correctly, didn't work, and it was more going through the rugby poles, wasn't it, than the soccer goal.
Well, Leicester Tigers' ground isn't too far away from here.
I think it's probably landed there.
Just been a conversion for the City's other major team. Certainly wasn't in the back of the net from Wilfred Ndidi. Has scored a couple of times in the Premier League this season. Can be a threat, but not that time. Milivojevic for Palace finds a ball back to Sacco, into Schlupp, then left to Van Aanholt. Good football there by Palace to play their way out of a tight situation. And Mamadou Sakho on the ball. One of the reasons he didn't quite make it at Liverpool, along with some personal issues, but that he was criticised for his lack of ability on the ball, at feet at times.
Yeah, he's not good enough not to play for Liverpool, I've got to say. For the top six, I don't think he's good enough on the ball. Good defender though, good defender.
Ball up towards Jamie Vardy here for Leicester, tries to find a flick round the corner to Barnes. Palace have won it back and knocked it up to Batshuayi, battling with Maguire. Maguire won it, finds the ball forward to Hazal, whose pass is behind Ricardo. I'm not sure Rashid Hazal has put a foot right as yet.
Difficult for him, big shoes to fill. Hasn't really set the world alight. I don't think he's what they expected. And I think that's a little bit, of where Leicester are. They've got a few players like that where you think, well, they should be better. They should be performing a lot better than they are, but they're not. And Hazal sort of falls into that category.
£12 million from Monaco back in August 2018. Just the one season with Monaco, 2 goals in 35 games, mainly as a substitute. Getting a run here with Mark Albright now injured. Here's Fuchs on the left-hand side, in for Chilwell today. Ball towards the back stick is over everyone's head, recovered by Ricardo Pereira. His ball is towards the other side. Nowhere near Vardy, nowhere near Barnes, and Guaita will let that ball go over his head for a goal kick.
Yeah, devoid of quality at the moment, especially at the cross. They're getting into wide areas, not really picking people out. In fact, there's not enough Leicester players in the box to speak truth, so the crossing has to be a little bit more precise, a little bit more accurate. I just think on the whole both teams have to move the ball forward slightly quicker than they are at the moment.
If Palace do get a draw today, they would go back above Newcastle United into 14th in the Premier League table. They would stay behind Burnley, who overtook them earlier today. Manchester United coming up in midweek, then a trip to Burnley, then Brighton. Next few weeks could prove decisive.
Yeah, that's why this is an important one, really. I think it's one they've got to register. I think they've got to win it, is my opinion.
Harvey Barnes there being held by Joel Ward. Referee wanted to allow play to continue, but Barnes has gone down on the halfway and will get the free kick. Left arm was being held there by the Crystal Palace fullback, in for Wan-Bissaka today, Joel Ward.
It's good play though, because at no point is Harvey Barnes looking for the free kick. He's looking to try and genuinely take Ward on until it just couldn't happen.
Fuchs long ball into Jamie Vardy. For a second there, thinking about some of those great finishes, those over-the-shoulder little lobs into the box, and
that's what they're looking for. They're playing for that one chance where they get Vardy in between the two centre-halves, or between the centre-half and the full-back, that angled pass onto the straight run of Vardy, where the other one over his shoulder, because he's a fantastic finisher.
I'm trying to think of who he scored that one against. Maybe it was Liverpool or Man City. It was a big game. The ball's dropping over his shoulder. It's the first time laces volley over the keeper.
Let me tell you, Tom, how difficult a finish that is, because you look at the goal, you lose sight of the ball. You look at the ball, you lose sight of the goal. To get that, to marry that and get that balance and timing right, it is a world-class finish. It really is.
You do remind me out there who that was against.
I can't remember.
A big game.
I can't remember. It was a big one.
At TalkSport Live, the place to do it. I feel like it was against Bravo and Man City. I may be wrong. Do send it in at TalkSport Live. The Jamie Vardy goal we're talking about. Plenty to choose from, I know.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, hasn't he?
Here is Rashid Hazal for Leicester, forced out right by Schlupp, and a poor pass infield to Ndidi as well, and you can hear he's getting a negative response from the crowd. It's allowed Crystal Palace to start a counter-attack. Batshuayi running forward, looked to slip in Wilfried Zaha, and it hit the heel of Johnny Evans, didn't find Zaha. Palace have set bodies forward, and now maybe Leicester can counter at the other end with Yuri Tillmans. On the left, he's away from Milivojevic, in the area now, tries to find Vardy. Good challenge on him. That's not a good challenge at all from Andros Townsend on James Maddison. He was late. Maddison goes down. You can't always trust James Maddison, but this time I think you can.
That's a booking second half, without a doubt. I mean, the back-to-the-Batshuayi chance, again, that's often why he's probably not the top quality, because that was a poor decision. There's simple decisions to make. He's taken it on too far, given the ball away. Leicester on the attack again, and that ends up with Andros Townsend fouling Maddison, who does have, you know, the dive in him. And he's a terrible faller as well. Yeah. There's to see that chance again. He drives across Batshuayi. He's got to make a decision quickly. It's a sloppy pass. He's got 3 people to choose from, and he doesn't choose any of them.
Back at the other end, it's a free kick for Leicester City on the left-hand side. Hazal and Maddison over it. I'm not sure the crowd want to see Rashid Hazal knock this ball in. James Maddison seems the more likely.
My worry is there's no one at the back post. You can see, unless he's going to shoot, you can see this gliding out the back post and off for a goal kick.
Johnny Evans is now peeling away from Mamadou Sakho. Such a threat at Anfield recently, weren't they, Leicester? From set pieces. Hazal does take it. Away by Tompkins around the penalty spot. Thielmann allows the ball to go out of play for a throw, and protecting the ball, Wilfried Zaha pulled his left arm and kind of pulls him down. A second sloppy foul.
I'm going to tell you that is a foul by Zaha, but it's also obstruction from Thielmann. It really is, because he's moving away from the ball. Shielding the ball, you have to be in line with the ball or moving in the same direction as the ball. He wasn't. But they're never giving.
They have worked the ball out to the other wing here. Leicester, Barnes, great skill. Little pass inside towards Maddison, trying to let the ball come across his body. Read by Milivojevic, and they will clear at Crystal Palace.
He did the difficult thing fairly easily. Then he had a decision to make, which was quite a straightforward one, and he didn't do that very well, Harvey Barnes. But I tell you what, he looks a player, doesn't he?
Certainly been impressive in the opening half an hour. We are 30 minutes down here. Leicester City 0, Crystal Palace 0 on Premier League Live. Here is Rashid Hazal in towards Ricardo. Can't get away from Schlupp and Van Aanholt. Dutchman's giving it away though. They're looking a bit rattled here, Crystal Palace, not using the ball well at all. Leicester growing in confidence and having plenty of the ball, plenty of territory as well. Comes out left to Fuchs, into Barnes, back to goal, finds Maddison. Into Ndidi, back to Maddison again. Chips it cross field. Ricardo in space. Down the line to Thielmann, who is onside. Crosses hits Sakho as far as Maddison. Left to Barnes. Barnes, low ball in. It's Tompkins. Townsend away on the end line before he can go for a corner. It will be a throw to Leicester.
Good play, good. They're just beginning to knock on the door. Good first touch from Barnes. Opens the pitch up for him to be able to get the cross in. Lovely play.
Arigato has been in touch and says he's pretty sure that Vardy goal was against Liverpool. Vividly remembering Jurgen Klopp applauding the Vardy finish. Yeah, may well. I think it was Liverpool. He may well be right.
It's a finish. I don't care who you are. The Liverpool fans would be gutted, but they'd applaud that. It was just a wonderfully taken goal.
The opposition was irrelevant, really, in many ways. But thanks for getting in touch. We do appreciate it. Here are Leicester coming forward, cross towards Vardy. Sakho has headed the ball away from the goalkeeper. It does break on the edge to Hazal. Leaves it for Maddison. Left of centre. That's a poor challenge by Milivojevic. Maddison just poked it away from the Crystal Palace captain, and this is in very dangerous territory.
Yeah, he's just run out of patience, Milivojevic. He doesn't have to do that if he stays on his feet. You know, he runs into Schlupp, but yeah, it's not nice either, really. And they are just beginning to exert a little bit of pressure. Palace aren't keeping the ball well enough when they do get it. They just keep giving it back to Leicester. Leicester will get more and more confident on the ball, more and more extravagant, will try a little bit more because they know the ball is coming back to them because Palace keep coughing it up quickly.
Got to be a chance here for James Maddison. The last free kick was taken by Hazal and was crossed in, but this is surely in James Maddison range. Placed the ball down as the Leicester number 10. It's fair to say that Guaita looks concerned, as do the Wall.
Well, it could go either way. It's virtually central and enough space to get the ball up and down as well.
Hazal is over it as well, but Maddison seems the man most likely. Almost every single Crystal Palace player in a line 10 yards away is an official 5-man wall. Another 4 on one side, another on the other.
Not much of a run-up from both of them.
It will be Maddison, hits the wall, and will be stopped from going for a corner by Vicente Guaita. Not a bad connection from Maddison, but just couldn't get it up. probably going in. It's hit the elbow of Michy Batshuayi.
Well, I actually think that was, they need to have get that up another couple of feet to get it down, get that whip on it. Hasn't hit it as well as he would have liked.
Well, Leicester have certainly been the better side in the half an hour we have seen so far, but not really troubled the Crystal Palace goalkeeper too much. A couple of pot shots aside from distance.
Yeah, I mean, both keepers will be feeling fairly comfortable, even though Leicester have had more of the play. Guaita hasn't really had that much to do. A couple of catches and stuff, not really had much to do.
On the right-hand side, it's Ricardo coming forward. He'll find Tillman to his left and leaves it for Fuchs. Back to Yuri Tillman again. Threads the needle to Maddison, who gets a snapshot away on his left foot, straight into the arms once again of the well-positioned Crystal Palace goalkeeper.
Again, enterprising play, good run from Maddison off the back of Milivojevic, but covered well by Tompkins, who kind of leaves the goalkeeper with a savable shot. Cut off the angle really well, but they're getting better quality going forward now from Leicester.
What do you made of Vicente Guaita? The third man to play in goal for Palace this season. Hennessy and Speroni have had their goes as well.
I saw his first game. I think he played in a pre-season friendly because someone got injured. I saw him play and then have to come off. He not really been in trouble. Not seen him really struggle. Not really seen him have to make loads of decisions. Not quite sure what he is because I've not really seen too much of him under pressure.
Was that Getafe last season as they finish 8th in La Liga, 12 clean sheets across the campaign. Striking blonde hair in goal away to our right. Nothing too strenuous for him to save so far. The other end, Crystal Palace trying to counter with Jeffrey Schlupp.
I think that's a booking.
Gets away from Wilfred Ndidi, and he will pick up the game's first yellow card. And you can hear why there's some frustration when there was the challenge from Milivojevic, the challenge from Zaha.
This is slightly different because Schlupp is away and he's at the back four, and Ndidi knows it, so he has to go and take him out and hope that the ref doesn't give it. But from where he was, he also had Townsend free on the right hand side. He may have slid him in. Puel's got the up, you can see, but I can see why that one was given.
Yes, some criticise Claude Puel for not showing enough passion in his interviews, but on the touchline, he is a very demonstrative manager.
Well, I tell you, I saw them lose, I think it was 4-3 at Wolves late in the day. He built all his emotion up for that game, I think, because I've never seen him like that.
Milivojevic's ball towards Tompkins at the back post, who's won it well once, then twice. Second header was on goal, but is wide from the former West Ham man.
It's a great header from Tompkins, but you're looking at someone anticipating. You kind of know he's not going to head it in the net from there. He's going to divert it back across the goal, but not enough Palace players really anticipated that.
Listen, we're getting a replay here, and we're hearing from some fans that there is a suggestion of handball against Michy Batshuayi from Maddison's free kick a little while ago.
It did it his hands, there's no disputing that. As he was turning from sort of left to right and turning away from the ball, it hits his hands. It doesn't hit his body at all, it hits his hands.
But is it handball? It's more of a handball than Otamendi in midweek.
Yeah. I'd have to say, yeah. I can see that one being given because it's not like he's tried to get his hands out of the way. He hasn't brought his hands up; they're just there. So I can see, he's tried to divert the ball with his hands. I can see a ref giving it if he sees it.
Reading this week that David Ellery and IFAB, the Referees Association, are going to get together in, I think it's Aberdeen, the next week or so to try and rewrite and define what deliberate handball is to stop these kind of debates.
Well, from what I'm hearing, any time it touches your hand, it's going to be handball, which again will cause more problems because there's loads of times the ball accidentally hits someone or it's deflected off you and hits me on the hand. How can that be a penalty? But they're going to try and simplify it that way, I think.
We will see.
Which only makes it harder, by the way, makes it more complicated.
Back in the present day, Leicester have won a corner on the left-hand side. Ball down the line, deflected into the path of Rashid Hazal, who couldn't keep it on. Corner to be taken by Maddison, whipped in towards the near. Vardy flicks on. towards Morgan, well away by James Tompkins. Great defending from Tompkins. And now Palace can counter. Down the line to Wilfred Zaha, who's had almost no impact on the game so far. Crowded out by Johnny Evans and Yuri Tillmont. Tillmont goes crossfield to Barnes. Checks it into the path of Madison. Left to Barnes. Edge of the area now, left-hand side. Hazal is outside of him. Cross over the head of Tillmont's run. Recovered by Ricardo. Turns away from Wilfred Zaha. He'll find Ndidi into Madison. Tillmont again, back to Madison in the area, but there is a foul by a Leicester City player in the build-up there. May have been a push by Tillmont in the penalty area on Patrick Van Aanholt, and that'll be a free kick for the Eagles in their own penalty area.
Yeah, Van Aanholt reads the pass from Madison and Tillmont fouls him, but the ball, I mean, Zaha's having no impact just because I think people have read him. They know if they can stop the ball into him or challenge him on the first ball in, crowd him out, then it makes it easier for him. The minute you let him turn, he's in charge. So that's what they're stopping him from doing, and therefore he's having no real effect on the game.
Pretty even match though so far between these two teams. Crystal Palace, funny old side to watch. They really are a team of two halves. So many times against West Ham they were bossed in the first half at Selhurst Park. In the second they could have scored about 20. Wilfred Zaha superb in that second half where he scored. They'll need to up their game, and they may be behind by that point as Barnes jinks into the penalty area here. He's brought down by James Tompkins, but the referee says Tompkins won the ball first. No penalty given. And then on the halfway line, Anthony Taylor has given a free kick Crystal Palace's way, and once again the home crowd do not like it.
Well, the Harvey Barnes one, I think that Tompkins gets the ball. Yeah, he does. He gets the ball. Sticks his foot out. It's always dangerous, that, because if he doesn't get the ball, that's a pen, by the way. But he gets the ball. And that's what, he kind of knocks the ball off Barnes, which is what trips him over. Not a pen.
Yeah, good decision that time by the referee. And now Crystal Palace come forward. MacArthur on the edge. Hard volley! Deflected and in!
Batshuayi.
It's a goal for Crystal Palace. It's off the thigh of Batshuayi. And he scores in the Premier League for Crystal Palace. Kasper Schmeichel, no chance. He'd gone right. It's flicked in left. I think Leicester are saying it's come off the hand.
I think they're thinking it's come off his hand, but it was so quick. It'd be interesting to see it again. I couldn't believe a ref would see this anyway.
Well, Kasper Schmeichel's having a real word now with Anthony Taylor.
He's looking at things going all over the pitch. I think he's looking at prior decisions, it looks like, Schmeichel. We'll have to see this one again, because I tell you what, it's very, very difficult to tell.
Replay on the monitors now. It's Milivojevic into MacArthur, who's shot on goal. Hits Batshuayi. Looks like he's just come off his right leg.
Yeah, do you know what? And it looks like great anticipation, by the way. Yeah, he stuck his foot out. It's diverted it in. It's not a foul at all. It's no handball.
Well, maybe they're still complaining about the free kick on the halfway line. I can't imagine what they've got to complain about. Either way, it's the first goal in Crystal Palace colours for Michy Batshuayi.
No complaints, Leicester. You give away the ball on a free kick on the halfway line, it's another phase of play. So you then reset and get on with defending again. Stop making this an excuse. And it's a poor excuse, I've got to say.
First goal in the Premier League for Michy Batshuayi since scoring for Chelsea against Watford in a 4-2 victory in October 2017. Of course, a couple of loan moves since then. What a shoot signing that is turning out to be for Crystal Palace. Here is the goal scorer. Ball forward towards Milivojevic. Not a great pass into him, and indeed he can bring Leicester away. Barnes drifting in from the left-hand side, running into Milivojevic, who's got Palace back on it again. Right to Townsend, down the line to Milivojevic. Coming down the right wing here are Crystal Palace. Townsend on the overlap. Here he is now, Andros Townsend. Step over to the end line, digs out across. It's a good one too. It's away though by Johnny Evans of Leicester. Barnes heads upfield, and then Vardy's return ball is one back by MacArthur. 42 minutes gone, Leicester nil, Crystal Palace 1.
And it's taken 42 minutes for one of the wide players to get past their fullback and put a cross in. It hasn't happened often, as we see the free kick on Zaha again. What they're saying is, I think Ricardo Pereira, they think he's got the ball. And I think that's the problem for them. From there onwards, yeah, there's too many phases of play that have gone. Then the ball's played, Milivojevic plays a great ball into MacArthur, who then turns in no man's land and shoots. Now, MacArthur is free, no one's marking him. That's down to poor defending as far as I'm concerned. They can't complain about anything else. They've switched off when the free kick was taken.
Yeah, it did make us think there must be a handball shout or something, because the way they complained made it seem like something massive had happened.
I didn't see it. Maybe I've got it wrong. I didn't see it.
Can't see anything there at all. I absolutely agree with you. I can't work out what they're so upset about. We saw less complaints last night from Fulham. As this shot comes in from distance here for Leicester, and Thielmann, it's gone just wide. Last night Fulham almost didn't complain at all when Javier Hernandez, at a game I was at, palmed the ball in the net.
Well, I mean, the problem with Fulham is they were competitive till the first goal went in. And when you're down there and you've lost, I mean, they've shipped 61 goals. So the minute a goal goes in, you could see they were deflated after that penalty went in, and you knew there was only one team going to win that.
Well, this could be a huge victory for Crystal Palace. If things stay as they are, they would go to 30 points. It would just be 2 behind Leicester, who sit in 12th. Palace would climb to 13th, and they would be 6 points clear of Southampton, who are in the relegation places and play against Arsenal at Emirates Stadium tomorrow.
And that's why this game's important, that they've got to win it. Far too long to go.
Leicester coming forward for an equaliser here. Shot by Barnes, hits Sacco, breaks back to Harvey Barnes. Great tenacity by Barnes to win the ball back. Finds the ball to Fuchs outside of him, into Maddison. Corner of the area, left-hand side. Tries a curler towards the back post, but didn't quite curl it enough. It goes a couple of yards wide.
Well, you look at the goalkeeper often with chances like that, and look at the keeper's reaction, and I think that tells you all you need to go. No, it's far, it's way wide. Good attempt, and what he's trying to do is get into those areas just on the edge of the box, get the ball out of his feet, because I think he truly believes that he can score from there or thereabouts. He just hasn't found his range yet.
Roy Hodgson says he feels more energetic, lively and young at Crystal Palace than anywhere else he has worked during his career. He certainly had a great performance from his team this evening. Classic away performance, vintage Roy Hodgson in many ways.
So far, because you have to believe, with there being seconds to go to half-time, that they'll get a rocket, Leicester, and they will play better in the second half.
Hazal finds Thielmann, who takes the shot from the edge, blocked by the back of Sacco. A corner for Leicester. 1 minute added on at the end of this half. To be taken by Rashid Hazal. In fact, he'll leave it for Maddison. Hazal put it down. The number 10 will take it. 2 arms go up. Don't want to waste this here, Crystal Palace. All about the delivery in these situations. Chip towards the back post where Maguire will jump. He's won it well, Maguire, but meets it with the square of the slab head, and it will go over the crossbar for a goal kick.
Well, I mean, Tompkins is good in the air as well, and just does enough to put him off. And he gets his head on it, but it's almost like a defensive clearance, isn't it? It's always going high and wide.
Leicester will feel hard done by here, no doubt about it.
I'm not sure why though.
Well, they've certainly bossed the game territorially. They've had 12 attempts at goal. Most of those from distance. They've not really got around the back of Crystal Palace, but they are going in here as the whistle goes. Behind, thanks to Michy Batshuayi's first goal for Crystal Palace. Deflected finish from MacArthur's shot. They may well have seen plenty of the ball. They've had the majority of the efforts. But Leicester trail at the break. More analysis to follow on this one. It is Leicester 0, Crystal Palace 1. You are listening to Premier League Live as the players continue to moan Anthony Taylor as the teams walk off. Kasper Schmeichel, we can just see having a few stern words with Anthony Taylor. We'll come back in a moment. It's Premier League Live.
The Premier League preview show with Talk Sport.
Pogba leaves it, Rashford hits it. Oh, it's a goal. It's the first goal of the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era.
Talk Sport's Premier League experts give their views ahead of the weekend's action.
Joining us on the preview show, the former Arsenal striker and most stylish man in football, Jeremy Aliadier. I didn't want him here, but he's turned up anyway. It's the former Chelsea man, Clive Walker.
Subscribe to the podcast today at talksport.com.
If you're outside the UK and Ireland, we've got you covered. TalkSport's international service covers every Premier League match live. Full commentary, pre- and post-match analysis, and goals as they go in from every single Premier League match.
Kane now on his left foot, bends a shot, what a goal from Harry Kane! MBE! Stunning finish with his left foot into the top corner. It's wonderful from Spurs. It's magnificent from Harry Kane. No wonder the Queen wanted to bestow an honour upon him. What a goal to celebrate.
Every game is covered. Get involved in debates. Ask in-game questions to our commentary team and get goal updates with @TalkSport Live on Twitter.
Salah's readying himself to take this one. Van Dijk's there. Lovren's there. Fabinho's there to open his account for Liverpool. And just as City go 2-1 down at Leicester, Liverpool